that was a moment. I made a choice, and that was not a loyal friend. That was a shitty friend.
Hey everyone, this is Becky.
And I'm Angie.
And welcome to Real Talk with Beckie and Angie.
This is a space where we get real, share our meaningful conversations, and discuss the topics that matter.
We'll share tips on how to make it through life's curveballs, and we'll also chat about how to celebrate the victories.
So if you're looking for an honest dialogue that touches on every aspect of life and personal growth, you've come to the right place.
Come join us on this journey and let's get talking.
Get ready. It's time to get real.
Boom! Hi, everyone, and welcome to Real Talk with me, Becky, and my dear friend and co-host, Angie. We're so excited to have you join us on our show's very first episode.
Today, we're chatting about friendships. Hey,
Yes.
Beck, how are you?
I'm great, Angie. How are you?
I am good. Thank you for bearing with me with all of my technical difficulties. You are so patient. I appreciate it.
That's what friends are for, right? And that's our topic today. How perfect is that?
Segue. You like how I threw that?
Yes. So I'm curious, what do you think is the number one key to a successful friendship?
I'm going to start with, I really think appreciating the differences. You are much more outgoing than I am. You're the life of the party, and I'm the one standing in the background watching everything, taking everything in.
That's so funny that you said I'm the life of the party. I'm a natural introvert. And so it's not a natural thing for me. Yeah.
Really? I had no clue. I really thought you were more of a natural extrovert.
No, it's learned behavior. Definitely.
Really?
Through direct sales and training, I have learned to be a pseudo extrovert.
So what about you? What do you think what are the qualities, or what do you think makes a really good friendship?
Appreciating the differences, like seeing that you are different people, and that's okay to be different, because we're all going to have different strengths and weaknesses. And I feel like where you're stronger, I'm a little weaker, and vice versa. And even putting this whole thing together, it's like you're doing one thing, I'm doing the other, and it's kind of just coming together. We decided to put this together like 3 weeks ago. And here we are. And I feel like we're off to a great start. So appreciating each other's differences is like the foundation of a great friendship.
Oh, completely agree. And it is funny that it was actually December 21st is when we did our first notes. And when I look back on it, it was just kind of like, you do this and I'll do this. And then we just come together. It's been fun. We've never done anything like this together. We've never been on a team together other than a team we were when we were younger.
The team of Beckie and Angie.
Yes, that is true. That is true. All right. So what else? Like, what do you think of next? And I think it's fair. Let me just interject real quick. I think it's fair for those that are watching or listening to the podcast. Beckie and I have been friends since, what do we decide? 8th grade?
8th grade. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So since 8th grade, we've been friends. And then I went off into the Air Force, and we kind of had some time apart. We're coming back together. And would you say that friendship's different?
Well, yes and no. One, I think we've changed as individuals, and we've grown. We both have had some pretty trying times in our lives, which I think has created stronger versions of us. And so we come back to the friendship better. And that's created a stronger, better friendship between us. I think the word that comes from me is empathy. I think we have a strong sense of empathy for each other and respect.
Oh, totally agree. I honor you as the woman that you are and who you've become. And it makes me want to be a better woman myself. So I kind of dig that in our relationship.
And vice versa. That's exactly how I feel too. And that is a great point of a friendship. If your friend lifts you up and says, hey, I'm in your corner no matter what. And if you feel like we all have that person that we can go to when we want what we want. Like if I want to be lifted up, if I want to know that I'm well supported, I can call on you. If I want to have let me just call it a bitch session, I'm going to call someone else. Like, not that I couldn't have that with you. I,
Yeah.
we know that friend that's going to pull us down. We know that friend that's going to lift us
Oh my
up.
gosh. It's gonna wallow in it and get in there
Yes.
with it and just like,
In the
and then,
wrestle. Yes.
yeah.
And
And sometimes that's okay to be there, but that's not that's not we. That's not me. That's not us.
and that's not what we bring each other. Doesn't mean we couldn't have a bitch session. We could do it and then get out of it. And so I know if I'm like, okay, I've got an idea and I want to bounce it off of somebody who's going to be honest, who's going to be really, really honest, I know that I can call you. I know that I can call you to say, Becky, okay, what's going on here? What's underneath all of this? Or, yes, I love it. It feels great. Or just simply sit with me and ask curious questions that will help support me.
And you walk through it. You walk yourself through it generally. We both do.
Definitely. And I feel like if I said to you, or if you said to me, are you open to a perspective or feedback or something? And if the other one said no, we both would honor and respect that choice. Because sometimes, I mean, we had this conversation the other day. Sometimes I just want to have a pity party and just like, no, I want to sit in my stuff right now, and I want to do that when I'm ready to get out. We can talk.
That's what girlfriends are for.
That
And
is.
I like what you said about church. You know, you said lifting each other up. And I know that we all know. Okay, let's be real. Real talk, right? We know that we have people in our lives that I want to be, why be delicate? No, there are people in our lives that I feel like secretly they're like, oh, she's going to fail. You know, I don't want to think that about people, but I do know that there are people like, she's not going to, this is going to be that time. This is going to be that time. She's not going to be able to do it. And then there are people in real friendships like ours where I know no matter what, I know you're cheering me on from afar. I feel it. I feel that energy.
Yeah. And I want to piggyback on what you just said about the person that's on the sidelines who's like, I know she's going to fail, or I hope she's going to fail. Let's be clear. That's about them and not about you or me or whoever
Absolutely.
is the person that they're looking to fail. That's about them. And it's sad. And we hope the best for them because they're thinking that because they're feeling so crummy about themselves. And that's the bottom line there. That's it.
And keep them at afar. When they're near, just be there, but that just meant mostly keeping those people out of my life.
Cheers to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, actually, yeah. I think we should debut our first version of our mugs. Real
Cheers.
talk with Becky and Angie. Hey, you know what's funny? Cheers. Oh, mm. Rules. Got to drink my
Drink your
water.
water.
Stay hydrated.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I think is funny? When we were talking about the show, we both had the same thought that it was real talk with Becky and Angie.
Mm-hmm.
And we just don't, there's no like rhyme or reason to it. And I even went, well, it's not alphabetical. But I actually ran it by a couple of people and they were like, well, Becky and Angie just sounds right. I'm like, it does
Yeah. Becky and Angie. Yes.
with an IE.
With an IE. Yes. I know. I ran it by some people too, and they're like, no, Becky and Angie is the way it's supposed to be. And I'm
No,
like, don't question it. Let's just move on.
so great. So great.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
So the number one thing for a good friendship is how to be a good friend is appreciate the differences. And I think we also kind of touched on supporting each other in their endeavors when they're wallowing. Be supportive. Be a supportive
mhm,
friend.
yep.
You want to
Yep.
elaborate on that at all?
So here's the way I would look at it. Meeting your friend, me meeting you where you are and asking you, where do I need to be? What do you need from me right now? And that's where I'll be.
That that is such a powerful question that you just asked. What do you need from me right now? We as women, we want to jump in and help. We want to rescue instead of hold our friends capable. And I think that's what you and I do for each other is hold each other capable. When you come in and just rescue someone, really, we do it out of love. Well, what
Mm-hmm.
you're doing is you're saying, I don't believe you're capable. I'm going to come in and rescue you.
Mm-hmm.
Real talk. The best friend that you can be to someone is say, what do you need from me right now? How can I support you? What does support look like for me, from me for you? Ask them and they will tell you. They might say, I don't know right now. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's
Because
okay.
It really is a new question. Like a new approach that people really don't know how to respond to. And because what do you mean support me? What does that even mean? I'm not used to be like, I'm saying things I've heard is I've never had anybody ask me that before. I don't know what support looks like. Well, I mean, what do you need? What would feel better for you right now? What would feel nice for you right now? Not me just coming in and doing what I think. It's not all about me. It's about, well, first of all, it's about both of us. But usually in a situation like that, someone is in need of something. And what does that look like? And if it's just to sit there and listen and then say, okay, have a nice day. That's the best. Let's go have wine.
Let's go have wine.
Let's go
Yes.
have wine, coffee. I don't know, wine, coffee. And then we talked about being honest. So honest, trustworthy, and loyal. Did we talk on that? Did we touch that? Because I think that's really important.
Not
And I think
yet.
it's pivotal in
Mm-hmm.
our relationship. So if we're going to be real talk, let's talk about that for a second. Do you want to lead?
Honest, trustworthy, and loyal. How to be a good friend. Like we talked about this, in accepting the differences. Honest, being honest with each other. Not, it's so tempting to tell a friend what you believe they want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
And when I look back at conversations with friends, and no judgment here, the ones that were the most impactful were those that said, Becky, and said something honest that might have hurt my feelings at the moment or stung a bit. And yet that helped me more than, you're doing great. You're doing great. Uh, honest feedback is, and if you don't know how to do honest feedback, if you aren't sure how to do that, go back to the question that you asked earlier. What do you need from me? And if that response is just be honest with me, and a
Ooh.
side note here. A side note is that's their honest version. Might not be yours. It's their perspective. So if they're sharing something honest with you, it's also their perspective. So if you don't see it that way, that's okay. Be open to looking at it. Be open to looking at it from a different perspective, because sometimes in that there's growth and change. And that really bonds a relationship.
It does. And if someone in the relationship says, if like, for instance, if I said, just be honest with me, and you were, and it wasn't what I wanted to hear, and I wanted to blame you for it, it is still on me, but it can damage the relationship because I really didn't want honesty. If you ask, be ready to hear, because a lot of times we don't want people to be really honest with us. I think it's a statement people say is, be honest with me. It's like, huh, I don't know that I can be honest with you because I don't know if our relationship, our friendship can withstand it. And so, I mean, I think that speaks to our level of friendship. Can I ask how you got to a place where you were open to getting feedback that maybe you didn't actually initially like?
Well, I've done a lot of self-development, and one of the things that I heard in that process was leaders eat feedback for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And that has really stuck with me. And the thing is, there's no good feedback, there's no bad feedback. There's just feedback. We give meaning to it. So if you say, that's kind of what I was saying earlier, is if you say, this is my truth, it doesn't, it's still your perspective. Yet I'm choosing to entertain that as, okay, what am I going to do with this information? The first question I always ask, and I taught my son this when he was growing up. If somebody said something not very nice to him, the first thing you do is ask, is there truth to this? Is there some truth to this? Because it came into my life for a reason. It came into his life for a reason. And is there truth to this? Because, if it stings a little bit, most likely there's truth to it.
There's probably something there. Yeah.
Yes. If someone said, Becky, your feet are really big, well, it wouldn't sting because my feet aren't big. If they said, Becky, your butt's really big, that might sting a little because I do have a round butt.
It's hot. It's so
See,
hot.
it's in right now. And so if there's truth to it, what do I want to do with that information? Or do I want to better myself? Do I want to be in resentment and
Oh no,
towards that person,
just go into pissed off.
or
Just go into
pissed
pissed
off?
off.
Like
Yep.
you,
Yep.
you
Just
jerk.
yeah.
Yes.
Hmm.
Or really evaluate why I got that information. And I feel like not everyone not everyone can do that or chooses to do that. They choose to go right into resentment and pointing the finger
Hmm.
at the person who said it to them. There's value in when people give you something that you don't like. There's value in exploring it. Also, you said loyal. Loyal to me means that I'm there no matter what.
Ride or
My
die.
friend is there no matter what, and trustworthy. I want to know that I can come to a friend, and say, "Hey, can I trust you for this? Is this confidential?" It's kind of like asking permission, and trusting that you will not use that information against me at a later date. That has been a pattern with some friends over the years, and it's not served me well. In fact, I chose to be in a state of not trusting people, period, period, and not sharing stuff until recently, to where I'm like, okay, if I can trust this person, I will share the the stuff, the stuff. Um, it's it's a journey for me, because I've been in positions where, oh, I told you that a year ago, and you just threw it back at me.
Uh,
And that doesn't feel good. I don't like
mm-mm.
it. That tells me about your character.
Yeah.
That's not a threat on me. That tells me about you and how you play this game of friendship. And I don't want to play this anymore.
Nope. That changes the whole dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
It really does. And speaking from personal experience, so talking about going into hiding, post my brain injury, and I'm going to bring this in a lot because it's changed my life. Um, it changed the dynamics of a lot of relationships that I had. And yeah, I actually have had, I've had people, one of the most sensitive things for me is language and remembering words and, right? You just things like that. And I've actually had people that took an opportunity to say, oh, yeah, I do see how you've changed. Or, oh, yeah, things that were not supportive. And I went into hiding because I didn't want to be outed for not being who I used to be. And I would say in our friendship, there hasn't been one time where you've been like, oh, yeah. Well, you know what I mean? I have never had that pity from you. I've never had that superiority. I think it's a superiority for some people too.
That's an
Um,
interesting perspective. Yeah.
yeah.
And what does loyalty mean to you in being a good friend?
Well, kind of like I said, ride or die. You know that person's going to be there for you no matter what. You could trust them, him or her, and they just, and it's an unwritten, unspoken, I would say heart feeling. Like, from the heart that person really cares, and they're not going to do something that's going to be hurtful, harmful, disrespectful, anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. All right. So we've covered the top four. Let me recap them just in case we want
Oh,
to. Appreciate the differences, supporting each other, show interest, and listen to each other, be honest, loyal, and trustworthy. Our fifth one is, okay. I've promoter personality, pseudo extrovert is my absolute favorite.
I swear you're lying on that one. So swear that you're lying on that one. I've known you since 8th grade. So, but it's okay. I'll let you have it.
Be a cheerleader. Be a cheerleader. There are so many memes out there about when you're shining in your life, and you look to the sidelines and you see the cheerleaders Those are the real friends. I've put some vulnerable posts on social media recently. So it's like the people that aren't cheering me on, that,
The crickets.
yeah. Yet, and then I see the people that are cheering me on. Some of them are surprising. Like, wow, you really are my cheerleader. You're in there. And when I see, it's like when you don't make a decision, you've made a decision. When
Hmm.
you're not cheering
That is a
someone on,
decision. Hmm.
you've made a decision. And that's feedback. Back to what we talked about earlier. That's feedback. Those people that aren't cheering me on or cheering you on, or anyone that's listening to this, don't get hung up on that.
Mm.
That's their choice. They're there, they're off on the sidelines not cheering you on. That's energy that you don't want. Look at the people that are cheering you on. Pull in that energy and let that create momentum to really plummet you to the top. That's be a cheerleader for your friends.
I feel like be a cheerleader, be a cheerleader. I was never a cheerleader,
Yeah.
but my daughter was. Oh my gosh, it's funny. And you know what I have found that using social media as an example, those vulnerable moments that when you put things out there, which I have done recently as well, um, the people that show up, the people that come out of the woodwork, it's like they're there. They've always been there and they get overlooked. I have overlooked so many people because there's other ones that I'm guilty that I'm focusing on. Well, what is that person doing? Or what, you know what I mean? Like there's things get fuzzy in between when there's a whole group of cheerleaders out there that I might be overlooking. So that it's just awareness.
Yes. So cheering on your friends, and kind of what we talked about earlier of how do you want me to support you? How can I be your friend? How can I lift you up right now? How can I cheer you on? To ask, what does that look like for you? Because for me, cheering me on could look like a comment on my posts. It could look like send me memes. I love funny memes, GIFs, GIFs, GIFs,
Gifts,
however you want
gifts,
to call them.
gifts.
I I could have a whole conversation using them back and forth.
That's
That's cheering me on. That's what I like. So if anyone wants to send them to me, that go for it. That's what that looks like. So what about you? Cheering you on, and you're doing something and you want some extra support off to the side. You want to be cheered on. What would that look like?
great job. Literally, I don't need the fanfare. I don't want the fanfare. I don't want a lot of attention. I really don't. I don't. It probably doesn't seem that way, and I think a lot of people are surprised by that. But I just like a acknowledgement, a simple acknowledgement. Really well done, or that was great. Good job. I like the very simple. Really, just easy. But I'll be sending you memes.
Yay. Are you open to a different perspective on that?
Yeah. No, Becky, I'm not. But go ahead. Yes, I am.
No. Uh, when I heard you say, just really simple, just a simple, good job. And that will go a long way. And that kind of goes back to that. We want to rescue. We want to like go, yes, you're doing such a great job. Oh my gosh. And just try so hard and give it in there. And that's, if I cheer you on, that's a gift that I give myself. Like I feel good. Let's be honest. Like cheering people on is kind of selfish. I don't mean that in a bad way.
No, it's true.
It's like I just cheered Angie on and I felt so good. It felt good. So it's when we give you a gift, we also get a gift back. So that whole thing that you just said, just a little good job, Angie, goes a long way.
It
No,
does.
and express to someone, hey, when they say, good job, Angie, you really like, you lifted me up. Thank you for that little bit. To know how to cheer people on is also is a nugget. That's a nugget. Like now we know how to cheer you on and you know how to cheer me on.
And do I immediately think to send memes? No, I just don't. It's not something I do. And I get to. I get to be aware of that. And when I see it, because I see them, now I'm like, oh, I can send this to Becky. She'll appreciate it because that's a gift.
It's a GIF.
Got
Uh-huh.
that.
Yeah. Yes. What else? What else?
Well, I think we talk about if we want to go for a second into our relationships of how they've evolved as being good friends. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure. Before we go there, what I'd like to say is please drop in the comments how you want to be cheered on. What kind of what if you were to tell your friends, if your friend was to ask, how do you want to be cheered on? Put that in the comments because it'd be fun to see how different people like to be cheered on.
Oh, so true. Thank you for remembering that. And do you want to do the other one? Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe and please share with your friends.
Yes, yes. We're committed to doing this. This is not something we're just doing like, oh, let's kind of see how this works out. We have a bigger vision for how we want to see this grow, and we want you to be included. Those that are watching, that you're listening to us, we want to hear from you. We want to engage with you, and we may even be enticed to do some lives. What do you think, Beck?
Absolutely. I'm in.
Okay. All
I'm
right.
in. Did I say that on camera? I did say that on camera.
You did. See,
Yes.
I thrive on lives, which is so weird. I love doing lives, and the whole thing of doing this recorded stuff, I'm not a fan, but I'm doing it, doing it. So, Becky, you're going to get to go live too.
Yes. Yeah. So there's got to be a live podcast option. I know that on YouTube we could do that. That would be like really way out of the comfort zone. That would be fun. So you asked me a question. I apologize. Now I've forgotten the question. What was the question?
Our friendship, how it has evolved, because all friendships evolve, right? So you reminded me we somehow magically became friends around 8th grade, and it's been an evolution. It's been a journey. So friendships, should we give the viewers, listeners, a little background on our friendship?
We could. Yeah. Let's see. A little
Highlights.
background. Angie and I, when we get on the phone, we have what we call these marathon conversations, and they could last 2 to 3 hours. So I'm going to just give a little nugget about one of my favorite Angie stories. Let me think about one of my favorite Angie stories. When we were in,
I'm so fearful.
I know, right? So this isn't
Okay.
a favorite Angie story. It's okay. It's not a favorite Angie. It's the one that it just keeps coming up, and so I'm going to say it. So I had a boyfriend. He was a DJ at the Grad, which is it was a place where we would hang out on Sunday nights and dance. And he was my boyfriend. And so Angie and I went to his house one day, and I know this puts you in a bad light. Yet,
No,
yet
I
it
totally
has
do.
such a great ending. It has such a great ending.
That's
So
why I asked.
yeah,
I knew this was it.
so we go to his house, and Angie and this guy's name's Trevor. They have this staring contest, and I'm like sitting there, like, okay, and for like a really long time. And anyways, they start dating, and I'm like, I think they're dating. I'm not sure. And so we broke up. You and I broke up. We were not friends. You dated Trevor. It's funny that I even remember his
How do you
name.
remember
I don't
his
know. I
name?
don't know.
Oh,
And
it's not
so
worth it, by the way.
and so then I don't know how long you guys dated. I don't know what happened. And and I knew that you weren't dating anymore. And time went by. I don't even know how much time went by. A few months. I'm not really sure. And I remember I used to have a Yamaha Riva 125 scooter that I loved. We had so much fun on that scooter. And I remember
So
one day
cute.
I'm like, you know what? I miss Angie. And I just showed up at your house. And we were just like, he's not worth it. Let's resume our
Mhm.
friendship. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Let's move on. But then we went back to the Grad, and he was the DJ at the Grad. And we were like totally like dogging on him. Yeah. Yeah. Went up, and he's like, okay, yeah. Like, we're a blip on his radar. But it
He doesn't.
really spoke to how it's like, okay, let's just put that differences aside and let's move on. Let's move on.
And I commend you for that. And that's where I'm going to own my part of it. I don't even know if we ever discussed what happened. We were leaving I think it was an apartment,
Mm-hmm.
and he slipped me his phone number in a note. And that was a moment I made a choice. And that was not a loyal friend. That was a shitty friend. The fact that I even did that, still gets me choked up because I can look back in my life and I can say that is one of the times that I know that I really stepped out of integrity, because that's always been a big part of my life where it's been, I want to know that no matter what, I did the right thing. I did not do the right thing. And I commend you for coming back into my life. I remember you driving up in your little your little scooter and your helmet, and oh my gosh, you're so cute. And we fell back into step, and I appreciate that because I didn't have the courage to do that. I didn't have the courage at that time in my life or the maturity to say, Beckie, I screwed up. I shouldn't have done that. And the truth is, I did. I did. And I learned from it. And it's of all the things I remember, I vividly remember that. And again, I apologize and love you dearly and appreciate your forgiveness on that.
Received.
Okay.
Received. Yes.
Yes, that is a memory of friendship and that we just going back to the grad, having a good time, things that we did, so many stories, good times, a lot of fun. Um, yeah, there's so many stories, and
And
we
so
watched
many more
out
to
for each other,
come.
and we watched out for each other. Yeah. So remember, get back in the car. All right. So recap our top five.
Top five.
Yeah. Okay. I'll do it. I'll
Okay.
do it. One is appreciating the differences in each other and how we best can come together to support each other because we're better together when we work together, right?
Mm-hmm. Support each other, help each other feel better. You
Mm,
know, just be supportive. You might not agree with them, yet you can still be supportive.
absolutely. Yep. And show interest and listen to each other. Be interested. Be interested in what someone else is doing. I have to say, Beckie, that's one of your best that's one of your best qualities. You're truly interested and you remember. You will remember and you'll ask me questions about something that's going on in my life. And I'm like, man, how does she do that? I'm amazed, amazed. So I appreciate that in you.
Wow, thank you for that feedback. I feel like that's an area where I can really grow. So thank you for that.
Well, I feel it. So I appreciate it.
All right. Be honest, loyal, and trustworthy. Whew, that is like the foundation of a good friend.
It is. Trust me. And then be their biggest cheerleader. And cheerleader is a different, I want us to be really, really clear on what that is. Beckie has talked about that she is a promoter. She is much more vibrant. I don't know. Is that a good word? You're just more spirited. Spirited and cheerleader goes together.
Spirited.
You're
Yes.
spirited. And I'm much more, I don't know, reflective, sit
That's
back,
exactly what the word I was going to use, reflective.
and I'm watching and I'm seeing, and I really don't miss much. And I am 100% backing you or whoever I'm really vested in their friendship. So there we go. That's our top five, Beck.
All right. This has been a great show.
It has been a great show.